I'd like to call this November work session to order. Would everybody please rise for a moment of silence? And let's remember former pastor of St. Anne Church, Father Tom Morris, who passed away today suddenly. Please salute the flag. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Cullen,
Here.
Mr. Pezza,
Mr. Pezza called. He's not feeling good.
Mr. Devine,
Here.
Mr. Gorman,
Present.
Mr. Catroci,
Present.
Mr. Gerard,
Present.
Mr. Di Giuseppe.
Present, and Mrs. Rodriguez is not feeling good. It's better if somebody's not feeling good not to come than take a chance in coming, so just so you know. All right, so is there anybody here for public participation, Merle? So that ends public participation. Just for the public, the meetings are open to the public. You could come and speak and say what you have to say, but after that, you have to leave the building, or you can go watch the meeting in the back room if you really want to, but we're still staying under the COVID protocol of not opening up to the public our council meetings. Chief's not here. Mayor, you want to start? I'll just go around.
Yeah, I really don't have a lot. Excuse me. We did the drug take-back over the weekend. It was successful in both the town hall and Grundy. The police department had teamed up with America Hose Hook and Ladder Company for a trick-or-treat drive-through at the other end of town, next to Wawa. There were decent crowds throughout the town. We had no incidents. The police department is going to be participating in the No Shave in November in a fundraiser for the Bristol Borough Little League. I think that's through Maestro, but I'm not totally sure. There's some federal and state mandates that'll be coming down that will require some policy revisions. Most of the policies are in place, but some deserve some more clarification for the officers. I know Chief's working on that with a lot of the other chiefs and the task force in the county. Also, too, on the agenda, we're going to request the authorization to hire Lee Matthews, pending successful completion of his testing and background. He's Act 120 certified, and he's a full-time Bucks County Ranger. And the only other thing I have is some good news with the fire departments. With COVID and everything, nobody's really been having a chance to meet to talk about the potential merger and getting together. About 2 weeks ago on Monday night, all the companies met up at America Hose Hook and Ladder Company number 2, and we met with a consultant. It's called Rob Consultants. He's a public safety and municipal government merger expert. We've had some conversations with him previously, and the companies all agreed that they liked what he presented. And basically, he's talking about kind of what we've been discussing over the last year or so, is about the merger of all the companies getting together, and they're moving forward. With this gentleman, they're supposed to get back, I think 3 of the companies have already gotten back. They're pledging X amount of dollars to get this guy to do somewhat of a survey up front with the fire departments. And the whole idea is to bring it closer with the council when we get this back from the state. But these guys have really taken to it. We're moving in the right direction. And I believe on the first of the year, Chief Reed from America Hose Hook and Ladder Company number 2 told us at the meeting that they will be America Hose Hook and Ladder Company number 2, period. No number 6 fire department. So that's it.
Thanks, Jim. Michael?
Yes, I just wanted to revisit a lot of the residents, at times when the lights are out, there's some confusion and it takes perhaps a little longer than it needs to. I just wanted to make them aware that at any time they could email or leave a message with any of their councilmen in their ward. But more importantly, you could, and go right to the source, you could also email or leave a message at Borough Hall. Just make sure that you include the number that's on the metal plate of each pole. That lets Public Works know exactly where to go rather than trying to give an address of a house or a cross intersection. So I just wanted to bring that up just because of, with the weather changing, a lot of the daylight savings time, sometimes the sensors are adjusting, and if there's any need to report it, just you can go directly and report it, and please make sure again that you have the number that's on the metal plate. Another thing I'd like to do is, again, thank George Waldron for his service through the years. I just know that many people in the borough, are going to miss him. I, in particular, he was always there to answer a question or give me resources that he had that we were able to use for the decorating and the festivities throughout the year, with everything from Mill Street to the Lions, that anything I needed or had to do or needed a resource, he was there. So I'm really going to miss him, and thank you, George, again for your service. And lastly, I just have a question about the new stop sign that was put down at the bottom of Mill Street. I've been telling people that that's where it needed to go because of the curve, and that's correct, right? I just wanted to make sure that I'm not giving them the right answer, because some people are asking why is it where it's placed, and I said it's because of it's the most visible.
I think that there was traffic study or
Sure.
was down, I think Peter Fate handles that with the police.
Exactly, and that's what I indicated, but I wanted to just make sure.
Yeah, we didn't pick the spot. Let's put it
Exactly,
that
that's
way.
what I said to them, that's what the state, that it was done with the traffic
Right.
study, and I just wanted to address that, because a couple people asked me. Thank you very much, that's all I have.
Louis?
I'd like to thank the Waldrons. George has finished up, and tonight Dave, his brother Dave's name is on the agenda to accept his resignation from Public Works. These two gentlemen have been dedicated and hardworking, and they allowed us to do a lot of things with our Public Works crew. And they will certainly be missed, but well-deserved retirement for both of them. I've been approached by several people. It's actually not in my ward. They thought it was my ward, but the Italian Mutual Aid 5th Ward on Wood Street, they say is being sold, and neighbors and even some members have questioned, what's going on here, and I've heard everything from, social club to a catering hall to a halfway house. And I don't have any, I don't know what it is, but I would ask our solicitor to please look into this before it goes to settlement, and make sure that the owner realizes it's a non-conforming use. So I guess really the only non-residential use would be to continue the social club. And they talked about a catering hall. Well, that certainly wasn't a catering hall. And we just have to worry about how that impacts the rest of that neighborhood. And with the pandemic and all the quarantining, parking, which is always a problem in town, has certainly become more of a problem. I've had complaints from some of the people in my ward about cars that aren't, well, you can't tell if they're registered properly anymore because they don't send out registration stickers, but they don't have inspection on them for some 18 months to 2 years old. This is becoming an issue. Some of them do get moved on sweeper day, because I think people, when it doesn't get moved, they make sure they, you know, they'll call the Borough Hall about it or email. But this is an issue, and even in the borough, some of the borough parking areas, there's people block spaces off, put cones up. It's not their personal spots. We have commercial vehicles and boats, RVs, or campers rather, in some of these units. And I think, I know even on behind Pond Street, that with all the parking there, and it says do not park on grass, and you go by there, there's no grass anymore because a couple people keep parking on the lawn. And I think this is something we need to look at from both the, you know, from the borough and the police department to kind of solve these problems. I think it's where it gets any worse. So that's all I have right now.
Dave?
Yes, thank you. I'd like to thank Mr. Winslow. He stays on Amtrak pretty good. Also, the people over there on Garden Street who take care across the street, I'd like to thank them. But through Merle's efforts there, Garden Street looks good. Amtrak was out there cleaning that up. They also cleaned up the fenced-in part from Corson to Pine, and hopefully they're going to go from Pine to Spruce all the way down to Bass Street there, and hopefully you stay with them. Merle, you seem to get some response from them, and thank you. And the other question I have is for Mr. Dillon. Last month I brought up how rough Pine Street was with the construction there. Any word on that, when they might be paving that, Mr. Dillon?
Aqua hopes to pave like the first week in December is their goal now.
Okay, thank you. That's all I got.
Lorraine?
First, I'd like to talk about the trash. A lot of times, trash doesn't get picked up on the day that it's supposed to. And I want people to understand that the trash company is really short on help. They're trying to do their best. They're trying to hire people. And I would appreciate it if your trash doesn't get picked up by 4:30, either email Mr. Dillon, or after 4:30, email me at cullen5400@comcast.net, or get a hold of one of your council people so that we can pass it on. And then the next morning, they come back out and they finish the job. So I'm really sorry that this is happening, but there's more people at home, there's more trash, and you know, we're trying to accommodate everybody. So, and I feel that the trash company is accommodating us. They're really doing a good job. When we tell them that, you know, a street hasn't been done, they come right out the next morning. I too would like to congratulate George Waldron on his retirement. I'd like to thank him. He's been great. He's gotten things done immediately when asked, and I really appreciate it. And also congratulations to his brother Dave. I'd also like to thank the police for the fabulous job they did the other night on Halloween night. There was a lot of kids in our area. It was great turnout. A lot of people had their tables out on the sidewalk and kids were going by. We all wore our masks, we all wore gloves, and some people had chutes that they sent their candy down, and but the cops were great. They kept riding around real slow, and some of them were giving out candy. It was just really a nice night. I'd also like to talk about a gentle, kind friend named Tony Romano, passed away a few years ago. His daughter, Kathleen Romano Loschel, and her husband, Rob Loschel, have a bakery in Hatboro. They live here in Bristol on Coolidge Place. Their bakery has sold 30,000 political cookies. And the bakery has gotten international recognition. And it's because of Kathleen's marketing magic. I mean, she's just amazing with her marketing. And CBS, NBC, PBS, ABC, Fox News, CNBC, Vogue magazine, they've all been involved. And internationally, Italy and many countries have contacted her. So, and also Eric Trump visited, so she was pretty excited. I'd like to see if we could recognize the bakery after the election is over with a proclamation, because small businesses have had so much trouble keeping busy, and they only allow 2 people in at a time. They have long lines, people wait. She does, she puts a DJ outside. She does a lot of things to accommodate the people, to make them come there. And there's many people from Bristol Borough that have gone there to help her out as a favor. And, you know, her husband's from Levittown, but she's from Bristol. Her family's from Beaver Street in Bristol. So I just would like to, you know, have a proclamation done for her. Thank you. I'm finished.
Okay, I want to jump on a couple things like talked about. The trash, let's get back to Lorraine mentioned the trash. The trash company does know what streets they haven't, like last week they missed Lafayette Street and Washington Street and a lot of stuff in my area, but they do email Jim, and I think Jim emails council or texts us to say they're going to be back in the morning. Just leave your trash out. They will come back and pick it up. And I think Lorraine hit the nail on the head. They can't find employees. They're spending hundreds of thousands of dollars on billboards and job fairs and, you know, everything you think of to try to get help. There's, and I don't want to mention the trash company in Newtown where my friend lives, they went from twice a week, the trash company said, we're only going to pick up once a week. We just can't pick the trash up, and that's what they're doing. If you don't like it, there's nothing you can do about it. They're breaking their rules and regulations, but they said, we don't have the help to pick up your trash twice a week. So we are fortunate that they're still picking everything up. They're doing what they can do. And we understand if your trash isn't picked up, it's frustrating, but they do come back the next morning and they're doing the best job they can. The other thing is, when I'm on, is leaf pickup. Leaf pickup will start this Thursday, November 5th, and it will end December 10th. It'll run for 6 consecutive Thursdays, except the 26th, which is Thanksgiving. They will pick up on that Saturday instead of the Thursday, 26th. So Jim will have this put on the TV channel and all, but if anybody's at home, leaf pickup starts this Thursday. It could be put in biodegradable bags or open containers. You could put it out in an open trash container. And again, it's for 6 weeks, starting this Thursday and ending December 10th.
Put the leaves in the gutter.
Yeah, don't sweep your leaves into the gutter. It's not fair for our guys to keep trying to pick up an enormous amount of leaves. They have enough problems trying to pick up from what's dropping in the streets. The other thing is mattresses. I don't know if anybody realizes you see mattresses laying on the ground. They will not, pick up a mattress, and it's not only Mascara, I think it's everybody, unless it's wrapped in a mattress bag. Because I know it's disgusting, but bed bugs and things like that, and it's not only in Bristol, it's everywhere. They will not pick them up. So if you're putting a mattress or box spring out, it needs to be put, they sell mattress bags now, slide it in, and they'll gladly take it. If it's not taken, it's because of that reason. And the borough is going to have to start coming around and issuing warnings or something to people, because it's disgusting to see people driving through town and you see mattresses laying on the ground. So if you want to know why it's not being picked up, that's the reason. The street sweeper will end on November 20th. That will be the last day of the street sweeper. So hopefully, everybody tries to keep their property as clean as possible until we start running it again next year. Louis mentioned the Fifth Ward Club, and I know Lorraine and Greg both called me on that. There's nothing that can go into that property, as far as I understand. I'm going to ask the solicitor, unless it's the same exact use. It's not a catering hall, it's not a restaurant, it's a social club. And if anything else has to come in front of zoning and then in front of council for approval. So am I correct with all this, Bill?
I believe so. I have to look at the district, but, yeah, it's a social club.
Right, I mean, they gotta meet requirements for parking and everything if they're going.
It's in a zone that's pretty much restricted to residential, so,
I know we're getting some complaints around town about gas meters that are being put in front of people's properties on Jefferson Avenue, on Pond Street, it's through all of our wards. Jim's been in contact with Pico, trying to get them to do something different. We think they're dangerous being right in front of properties down there at ball fields and along Rite Aid and on Jefferson Avenue. So we all have this issue, so if anybody's calling you, we're trying to stay on top of this thing with the gas meters, but doesn't seem like we're making any headway. The last time they said, well, if you don't want it there, we'll disconnect it and you could change your source of fuel. Just a couple things on the borough building. We have a couple leaks that we're trying to get resolved. There's one here. It's leaking from here down into the police station. There's one out in the hallway. And we don't think we know it's not the roof because we had a few people look at it. We think it's the chimney and the clock tower that's leaking. So we had a couple companies come out. There's not too many people that handle stuff like this that we know of. So if you see any high reaches out here or anything, they're trying to do a water test to figure out where these leaks are coming from. Then once it's done, we're going to have to get the inside and the exterior of the building painted, hopefully in the spring to freshen everything up. The other thing is I had a letter sent, to the president of the school board to sit down and talk about recreation and some future things in the borough. We're trying to schedule something for this Friday. I'll let everybody know how we make out on that. The other thing is we were contacted by Fox Business. They're going to be asked if they can use our waterfront tomorrow to televise about the election from 11 a.m. until midnight. They're hoping to, I don't think they're going to call an election by midnight. I could be wrong, but that's what their goal is. So if anybody tells you that Fox News is set up down at the wharf, that's what it's about. So they're going to be broadcasting from 11 a.m. until midnight tomorrow night they picked the wharf. I don't know who went down there.
it's the business channel. It's their business channel.
And is Maria Bartolome here?
Yep, she could be there.
Michael talked about the street lights. It is important that we pay for the street lights whether they're on or off. We pay a flat fee, so anybody that has a street light out, please call them into the borough and especially if it gets dark earlier for the kids crossing streets and all. Budget meetings, we could handle it either, I could sit down again with Jim and we'll try to come up with, Angie and Bridget are back there working right now on the budget. We're trying to get a preliminary budget. We could try to balance it and I could present it, or do you guys want to have budget meetings next week, a few nights in a week, and we'll try to go over it? Any comments? I guess just try to do it.
Just do it.
I'm working on a couple things with SEPTA for our train station. I think we have a good chance of maybe getting our train station new facelift with all new lighting and painting
great.
and really dress it up in the spring. So I should know something in about another month or so. We'll make an announcement, but I'm confident that we're going to get something done with our train station. The other thing is, there's a county program that's been established for people that are delinquent on their mortgages. So if you're behind on your mortgage and you're in fear of losing your home because of COVID and you couldn't work and you got behind, there's a program now that'll help pay your mortgage if you qualify. And I think it was put in everybody's packet.
Yeah, I saw it. Did it give us any parameters of who would be eligible?
You gotta call them because they're the ones that are administering the program. Let me see that, Joe. So the phone number is
Credit counseling
15
number.
348-8003. So it says to see if you qualify to have your mortgage covered or for other housing-related assistance, call to schedule an appointment with the Credit Consultant Center. And that number again is 215-348-8003. So if anybody has any issues or you're having a hard time with your mortgage, if you didn't write the number down, you can call the borough and the manager will have it and our secretaries will have it. But it seems like a nice program to help people if you're in need of some kind of an assistance for your property.
Excuse me, Ralph.
Yes.
There's also an email address, info@creditcounselingcenter.org. info@creditcounselingcenter.org.
Okay. Billy, what do you have? You have a few things, right? I'm going to jump around. I got some more stuff too.
Did you want me to go? Because I didn't go yet. I don't
I'll
know.
come back to you.
Oh. It's a little odd.
The refuge contract.
Okay. Some of this stuff.
So this kind of goes hand in hand what was said about the pickup. So I think a couple months ago, Mascara issued a public letter, didn't they? I see a pile out there, where they said they, along with everybody else, has seen about a 20 to 30% increase in pickups in the tonnage. And of course, like everybody else, they were hit with sick employees who left, and they're having a tough time manning their trucks. I think, was there a job fair here in Bristol?
Yes,
Friday. Anyway, they assured us in the letter they're not going to try to reduce their coverage. They're doing everything they can. When they can't finish in one day, they'll come back the next. But they sent us a letter and asked us if we could do something for them that would help them and not really affect us. Next year is the last year of the 5-year contract, 2021. We have a 2-year option, which would take us 22 and 23. We usually exercise that because the price is already fixed. We don't have to go out to bid. And I think there's real concern that when we do have to go out to bid because of the COVID, we're really going to get hit. So basically, under the contract, we've been paying the same amount every year for 5 years. And then in the 6th and 7th year, it goes up. It goes up about, I think, $105,000 for the year. It's not much. What they're asking us is, one, to exercise the option so they know they have those extra 2 years. And they're asking us to take those last 3 years and equalize the payments. So just to give you an idea, in 2021, we would have paid $106,000 a month, which is what we're paying now. 22 and 23, it'd go up to $120,000 a month. They're asking that we take those 3 years and equalize them, so now we're paying $115,558 a month. So it means for next year, it would go up, but for the last 2 years, instead of going to $120, it'd go to $115. We're not paying any more under the contract. They're just asking us to blend it. So they have a little more income next year to help them out, and we'll know that we got 3 years of the same payment for budget purposes. So I'm asking if you want to put that on the agenda.
So it goes from 109,
No, 106, under the contract, this year, next year would have been 106, it would have gone to 120 for the last 2 years.
Right, so
Under this
106.
proposal, starting January, for 3 years, it would go to 115. So it'll be a little higher next year, but it'd be lower the 6th and 7th year.
Right.
Again, not costing us anything.
Right.
Just accelerating the payments. So if you want to do this, we would be dealing with this option early next year anyway, is exercise the option, so you know you're locked in for the 6th and 7th year. You don't have to worry about any great increases. And then we'll agree to the 3-year payments will be equalized for 21, 22, and 23.
well, first of all, it makes it easier for our budget, so we don't have to keep dealing with that. We have a fixed cost for 3 years. But if you go out to bid right now for trash, I don't care who it is, hopefully that this is over in the next couple of years, because I don't know how you're going to afford to pay for trash. That's how expensive it's going to be. I mean, I don't have a problem. Anybody have a problem with it? It's no difference in payment. Okay, so that's fine.
Be on the agenda.
What else do you have?
You want to talk about the Verizon?
Yeah, I mean, Dave and Tony's more, it's their
So-
ward. I think they need to make a decision on where we're going with this.
Okay, so the next step, remember, eventually, they're going to have to go to zoning, because it's a non-permitted use, and then they'll have to come into land development, because they're putting up a little building. But because we own the land, before we ask them to do that, we have to decide, or you have to decide as a council, do you even want to lease the property to them? So they submitted a lease, okay? They need a lease so they can proceed with the, the regulatory commissions, et cetera. All right. So the lease basically would say, we're giving them, so many years. Of course, it's conditioned on them getting the zoning and land development. Okay, if zoning turns them down, then they turn them down. So I looked at the current leases we have. We have 2 leases on our tower out in Commerce Park. So this lease is for 5 years with 4 5-year options, their options. So it's basically a 25-year lease, which they all require because they're putting up so much money to put this tower up. It'd be, for the first 5 years, it will be, where is that? $28,800 a year, and then each 5-year extension would go up 5%. So the next 5 years would be $31,680. If they were to lease a part of their compound to somebody else, which typically they do, we would get a percentage of that. If another company if they couldn't accommodate another company, and a company says, you know what, we need a little space next to Verizon, that would be between us and them, and we would get 100% of that money. They will need an easement, a little roadway from the enclosure to the roadway or to the parking lot, whatever. They will be responsible for building it, maintaining it, clearing it of snow, et cetera, et cetera. It's put in there, there'll be no barbed wire. We don't want any barbed wire near there with the kids. So council has to decide if we want to go through with the lease. Once the lease is signed, they'll apply for the zoning and then come to the borough for land development.
So, I mean, you 2 guys got what do you, I don't know, Dave or Tony?
Well, I mean, the way I feel about it is if they're going to be leasing it out to other companies and creating, like, to me, that's where the harm comes in with the, I'm not a scientist, but that's where the harm comes in for, for the kids and the residents that would be in that area. So, I mean, $28,000 a year is not worth it to me to have, unless it's 100% guaranteed that it's not going to have any ill effects on kids, then I'm not okay with it.
Well, they sat here and said it wouldn't have any, but, I mean, I don't know. I said from the beginning, it's something that I'm not in favor of, but
Yeah, I mean,
want to be put somewhere in town. You know, Dave, what do you think?
Well, from the discussions I've had, if we say no, they're gonna put it in that general area anyhow. They're gonna go over to Keystone Lake and try to get a piece of their ground or whatever. They need that tower, and it's gonna go in that area. Somebody's gonna have it. I go by Grundy's, and I see receptions, antennas off the clock. I go down to the Amish, I see the water tower is full of them.
look at the difference in height, Dave, where they're gonna be. That's a total difference. The way they talk about it, the way I got from it is, if this is the tower that they're building, right? And the waves are shooting, if they're high, they're shooting way over whatever's happening below them. The lower they are, which would be at the baseball fields, they are not as high. So the ones that they put lower on this pole, whatever they're putting, they're going to be shooting on top of their
I
head.
don't think anything's low, Tony.
What happens if they do that over Keystone Lake?
Well,
And
if they do what over Keystone, where's their,
How high the tower is.
how do we know?
Huh?
How do we know they're going to Keystone Lighting?
Because
Tony,
they need one in that area.
Tony, just so you know, the tower's 150 feet. There's nothing going on the ground.
I said closer to the ground, I said what's
Nothing's
going on
going
the ground.
close to the ground.
What's the height at the Grundy
150
clock?
Yeah,
150
what's
feet.
the height of the water tower at the Amish building?
I don't think it's more than, I don't think it's more than 150 feet.
I mean, how many antennas are on that water tower?
Listen, I'm telling you how I feel, so it's a, decision to make. I'm not gonna vote for
I
it.
think we're going to get one in that area no matter what we do, so.
So how do you want to put it on the agenda for a vote, or you want to?
Yeah, I think we ought to vote on it.
All
And
right, put it on the agenda for
It be on
Monday.
the- Yeah, it needs to be voted on.
Okay, Monday night.
The RDA? Okay, that's it.
It's gonna be next Monday.
Okay.
Jim, you have anything real quick, and then me and Tony can finish it up?
In your packet, there's proposed items, if council would consider acting on those tonight. One is accept the resignation letter of Dave Waldron as a Public Works employee as of October 15th of this year. Authorize the hiring, according, the mayor mentioned the hiring of Lee Matthews as a part-time police officer per recommendation of Chief Henry. Also, we have a bid for the award to upgrade our traffic signals per the recommendation of the borough engineers. It was enclosed. We had three bids were received, and the low bid was Armor. And this deals with the casino funding, and it's time sensitive. So the low bidder was Armor and Sons for $92,215. So I'd like to council if they would consider awarding that tonight so we get that paperwork moving. And authorize the 2020-2022 agreement with Tom Howe Associates that deals with our recycling. They handle our recycling paperwork with the state. So they were just
So we voted on tonight, them two?
I would like to definitely accept the letter of resignation from Mr. Waldron, to hire the part-time police officer, and award the traffic signal.
Can somebody write them three motions
Well,
down?
wait a second. There's only 5 motions, why don't we just do it tonight? Do everything, if we're gonna do 3.
Well, we have other stuff too that Billy has.
All
All
right,
right, we'll talk about that.
all right. So,
All right.
Bill,
All right, let me just do one more thing, and then I'm gonna go to Tony. All right, so the other night I was contacted by the residents of Pond Street. 1,000 block of Pond Street. I don't know if anybody noticed recently how nice that stretch of property looks, how much pride they took in their homes, how they're decorating with fall pumpkins and mums and everything that they put out. And it really shows you how a group of people that get together to take pride in what they're doing, how they can make an area look. So me and Louis was contacted through email from most of the residents that live there about talking about Chestnut and Elm Street. So we met with them last week, and, you know, I don't blame them. I said, if I lived here, I'd be upset too. There's no reason anybody should have to live under these conditions with property that's boarded up and people urinating out back and sleeping, breaking into homes. It's not fair to them. It's not fair to people in the borough, and it's not fair to people who live on Jefferson Avenue either. So something has to get done with that property. I know there's talk, I told them there's talk about a public park. There's talk about, you know, no matter what we do, it's going to take a lot of money to do this project. But the main thing is to get it torn down. So, Louis, why don't you read the letter that they sent, that tonight, we got it at 6 o'clock tonight.
Okay, this is addressed to Bristol Borough Council. I'm writing on behalf of the homeowners of Pond and Jefferson Streets regarding the boarded-up vacant properties on Elm and Chestnut Streets. Our initial goal is to make it clear that the state of these properties and alleyways that surround them is unacceptable. We are residents who take pride in our homes and neighborhood, and have watched this area fall deeper and deeper into ruin. We have grown reconciled to boarded-up windows, trash, overgrown shrubs, and grass and rodent traps. However, within the last 2 months, we have seen the homes blatantly opened up for use, men dumping trash in the yards and using the backyards as a bathroom. We want these properties torn down as soon as possible. We have realized that our voices are stronger when raised together for the common goal of making this a beautiful, thriving neighborhood once again. Our secondary goal is to make it clear that we, as the residents of this block, do not want this area to become yet another park place. We don't want a skate park or another playground or a communal area here. We use the parks and spaces we already have and would prefer to see these current playgrounds kept in better condition. We want to see these properties taken down and replaced by family homes. We live in Bristol because it's a safe, family-friendly, beautiful place in which to grow. The state of Elm and Chestnut Streets have us scratching our heads. Please hear our voices. The condition of these blocks has become unsafe and unacceptable. We do not want to wait any longer, and we are not willing to consider more communal park space. We are looking forward to hearing from you about your plans for our neighborhood. Thank you for your time. Sincerely, and it's signed by 14 of the residents in the area there. And I might just add that I left that meeting with a new confidence in town, because they were it was such a good meeting. They were very positive, even when they heard stuff that they didn't want to hear. They were still positive. They want this to be, you know, a better place. And, you know, they even said, we've tolerated the boarded up houses, but now it's getting to the point where it's beyond that when people break in. Now, the borough has gone over and secured a lot of the, you know, they had to secure the second floors because people were jumping up onto the kitchen roofs and getting up into the second floor, so now they're all boarded. But it's an issue. It's an issue for the police. It's an issue for our people, and I think this needs to be concentrated on now.
So what I was impressed with, most of these people are in their late 20s, early 30s. Some are single parents, some are husband and wife with children, and they want a community. They said, and I thought, they would want something different. I said, how about Mill Run? It was always the intention, maybe selling the property to them and let them starting an assistant living, and then you could transition from assistant living into full nursing home. And they said, we want homes, we want a family, we want a community, we want our kids to go out and play. That's what we're looking for. We have enough open space in this town. And you know what? They're right. So, my recommendation is to put on the agenda to turn this property over to the RDA, enter into an agreement with them, and the first step is to try to negotiate. There are 7 properties left on Chestnut and Elm Street. 2 are rentals, 5 are owner-occupied. The redevelopment authority has more flexibility than we do because they can negotiate a deal. If we can't reach an agreement with the 7 tenants, I think me and Louis looked at the property along with some of the homeowners. You can rip down X amount of homes, you might have to stop one and then rip some more down. Our intention never was to hurt anybody there or to do anything, but we do have a couple $1 million invested already, and we probably need another $1 million or a little bit more to finish purchasing the homes and tearing them down. And if you're putting $3 million out, you have to recover this money some way. So I represent the people in my ward, and so does Louis. So my recommendation is to, look, in the meantime, nobody's saying we can't keep moving, or Mr. Devine can't keep moving forward. We're trying to find money to do whatever he's looking, or a small version of that somewhere. But I think, in reality, these homes have to come down sooner than later. Tony?
Yeah, the issue that I have with it is that the borough itself created that blight for them, right? So the things that we're talking about, we created. So just like any other homeowner in the borough has certain standards they have to live by without getting, citations for overgrown grass or whatever, we should be held to the same standard for those conditions. And I feel for these people who live there, especially how about the people who actually live on Chestnut Street, that still live there, living next to, they're forced to live in what looks like North Philadelphia or parts of Trenton. You know what I mean? That's not fair to those people that live there. And the idea of, it doesn't even make sense to me that young people, young couples that live in that area that wouldn't want that to be a beautiful central park is it's really crazy to me that many people would say, we have enough open space in the borough. I think the borough is the most condensed, probably living in all of Bucks County. So to say that we have enough open space or more open space than we need is, to me, it's ridiculous. And the idea that we're going to spend, this is what people need to understand. We're going to spend $3 million plus to buy up all these houses, to knock them down, to create it for somebody who is going to be buying it to put up houses, that we're only going to get a fraction of that money in taxes. The majority, as you said, Ralph, will go to the school district, that tax money. We'll get a portion of it. It will take 150 years to get that money back with housing. And the second part of it is this. Listen, part of the quality of life and living is to have a great space for people to enjoy, not just kids, but everybody in the community. And that is the perfect location for it. It will satisfy all the needs that they have. They want their kids to be able to go out and play, it's going to be right in their backyards. If they want to have the ability to enjoy their environment, it's going to be right in their backyard. So, I can't understand how they would feel that way, that they would take more houses being put in a spot where they can have a great space for their kids and for the rest of the community as a central hub for the community. And, the idea of just us creating that blight for them and not taking care of it, the upkeep. There should be no problems with grass. There should be no problems with the alleys. There should be no problem with those buildings and people getting into them, okay? The only reason that that's happening is because we let them go. Our borough workers get paid great money. Great money. So that means that they're not being told to go over there, because I'm sure they're not getting told to go over there and cut the grass and do this over there, and then they're not showing up. I'm sure that's not the case. The case is, they're not being told, it's not a priority, so it seems like it's there to get worse, so we can have a discussion like this. But what we're missing is the idea of how it got that way. So, to me, that, I mean, it's just, I don't, like, to hear that is just, you know, I hate to say it's nonsense, but if people feel that way, I don't understand where it's coming from.
All right, so just to answer a couple of your questions.
Mm-hmm.
The borough crew is there every week.
Mm-hmm.
They maintain the property, they cut the grass. Every time somebody rips open a piece of plywood off the house, they go board it up. So we do everything we can the minute we get a phone call to make sure that that property is maintained the best we can. There's only so much you can do with it. So our borough crew does, and they know that. The people that live there know that. The other thing is, you say we created the blight. The blight was there. We took care of the problem by buying up property as they became available, and that was our goal for the last 15 years. It's way too long. It's just sitting there, and something has to get done. If you think you can raise money for a park, look, keep doing what you got to do, but in the meantime, whether it's a park, whether it's a nursing home, or whether it's residential, something has to get done. We can't keep the homes sitting there any longer. That's what we're talking about right now. We're talking about getting the houses torn down as soon as possible.
Okay, so if that's the case, if it's going to go and if you feel that this council wants to go along with turning that into housing, let's just put it out there on the market now and let the people bid on the land. Why do we have to knock it down? Let them knock it down. Why does it have to come out of our pockets?
Well, what I wanted to finish, if we turn the ground over to the RDA, we have a grant in for the casino development money to tear down Elm Street and Chestnut. I don't know if we'll get all that money, but whatever we get, we could start doing something. Hopefully, we can get Elm Street down, I'm hoping before the first of the year. For the redevelopment, sorry. That's one thing out of the way. And then, simultaneously, they can put out an RFP to see who's interested in the ground and what they could come back with. Maybe we're missing the boat. Maybe it's going to be commercial. Maybe it's going to be something else. But I'm only telling you what the neighbors want. They want a community. They want to live amongst families and have their kids play with other kids. That's what they want. So, you know, at the end of the day, it's our decision, but my position is to favor the people that live there. They pay taxes. They're not renters. Like I said, one girl's a young girl who bought this property and gutted the whole entire house, redid it. She's ready to sell. She said, I'm so disgusted living here. I said, I don't blame you. So something has to get done. And I'm going to try to push this along as fast as possible, working with council to get these properties down and make sure these people are happy that live there.
So what happens now that you're part of the RDA? Are you even able to be in the process of doing any of this?
I don't see what I'm doing wrong. I mean,
No, I don't think you're doing anything wrong. I'm just saying,
I might have to abstain for voting on something if somebody wants to purchase it or whatever, but as far as discussion to take stuff down and all, I don't know, Mr. Salerno, is there any conflicts?
At this point, it doesn't appear to be any. If their solicitor feels there's a conflict, then you'll abstain.
Yeah. I mean, I think everybody should be happy I'm on the RDA. I think we benefit by that as a borough. So does that need to be on the agenda? So are we voting on stuff tonight?
Well, because you're targeting Elm Street because you may get the money, the RDA has submitted a cooperation agreement just for Elm. If you want to expand that, we can. If not, on Monday.
You know, I want to expand it to Chestnut and Elm.
we'll stand it, they can vote on it. And remember, whenever we enter into an agreement with them, it always provides that they don't make any decisions without council.
Right, everything has to come back to council. They can't do anything without our approval. So are we voting tonight or next week?
We have to get the
We have to
agreement.
vote for 3 things tonight.
Okay, so we're coming back Monday for stuff.
Yes.
That's fine.
Ready?
You know what, Tony, Gad, I got some more stuff, but
All right, the next question is still on this. Is that something, these 14 people that are meeting, is that something that we could sit down as a group? Are they open to having a discussion
it's,
amongst, as a council?
there's no reason to meet with anybody.
Well, don't you think it's important to hear both sides and where people are coming from? Like, I would like to know, like, if there are people there, I would like to pick their brains and see.
Maybe I could ask them if they want to come to the meeting Monday night.
All right.
We'll allow them to come.
All right, so,
Tony, one thing they did say that,
Mhm.
that they said there's a need for single-family housing with parking in our town. That some of them would like to move from, maybe they could move from Pond Street, which is a row home, and they have no parking, into a house, and I hear that from other people. There was just something online, Richard Sarah, who puts a lot of old pictures out and all, a woman wrote to him saying how she came into Bristol and she loved it and she'd love to return, or her daughter lives here, she'd love to get here. Are there any single-family homes, if something comes about? Not that that made a difference on this one, but it's just funny how, we don't have single-family homes here.
well,
We
because.
don't have a lot of them.
Right, and
that's
that,
something we need if we want to get, we want to get homeowners in, not just renters and.
well, there are things that you can do. I mean, right now you have all those single-family homes that are over there on the Delaware, across from
They're
the
not
old
single
book
family.
factory.
Not single home.
They're not single
They
family.
have parking, no? None of
They're
those? are-
parking, but they're all row homes.
They're not, there's no single-family homes over there?
In their plans, I think they talked about it on the river,
No,
but they're.
there's no single.
There's no single-family? Oh, okay.
No.
Well, to me, the beauty of Bristol is that it is that neighborhood. And, the people who want single-family homes, if they can afford to move off of Jefferson Avenue and Pond Street in those blocks, they're gonna do it. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think that they're gonna wait to see those things develop before they move in. If they have the ability to do it, like, and that's the thing that worries me, is that the message of Bristol Borough is getting out there. So the things that, Bill Pezza and Raise the Bar has done to make those things, pop and bring awareness to Bristol Borough. But what's happening is, the people who are coming here, that are buying those houses, that are putting that time in, that are homeowners, that see the potential, what's happening is when they have an issue, you're getting these people who are professionals, you know what I mean? That they like their own, they have their own opinions and how things should go. So what happens when they get smacked in the face when it comes to they're not being heard, what they do is they take their money and they go elsewhere, which we are seeing with people. So the problem is, we can't just say how great it is if we don't act that way. And I think, that we understand what I'm talking about when we're talking about people who are coming here. It can't just be come here and listen to what we're going to do and that's it. It has to be a mutual agreement. When new people come here with money and, ideas, and they're professional and they want the town to be better, they're going to have their own ideas. And we have to accept them. We have to open up to them. We can't,
I think a lot of people are coming here because how great our town is.
they,
I'll be honest with
they
you.
are coming.
And it's because of what we did as a council.
No, because the problem is when you say it's just, it's what we did as a council. It's what the towns did. See, the important part of this town to me is the people, you know what I'm saying? And it's not what we do. It's the people who are in it is what makes the town great.
Right.
And that's it. You know what I mean? So like, us doing everything over there for Mill Street, yeah, it's great. It looks good. But that don't help the majority of the
Well,
people
that's
in
why
the
we're
borough.
trying to do something great in this area.
Right, and that's why we need a central park. And what, I mean, listen,
Look,
you
that's
have
not-
the,
That's fine. I
Yeah.
understand your opinion. I respect it.
all right, and I respect yours as well.
Okay.
All right, first I would like to thank Jim Dillon for taking care of that graffiti that was on that bridge. Jeff Manto came up with a good idea, and I know he was gonna reach out to, I don't know if it was you, Ralph, or somebody on council, it was Louis or Ralph, and I know he said somebody on the school board that he was gonna reach out to. And I don't know if you want to talk about it, Ralph, did you get his message from Jeff?
Which one?
He sent a message about, you know, during the COVID right now, there's so many things that are going on. People are been locked in their, you know, their houses for so long, and now with mental health and obesity and, you know, just having, like, being in a kind of the doldrums, you know what I mean? And now that we turn the clocks back, it's getting dark at 5 o'clock. So people are stuck inside, and especially our kids, that there's nowhere for them to go. And I thought he had a great idea, is put the lights on at the baseball fields, and just have that as just kind of a meeting place for adults to come over, do some exercise, you know, walk around the fields, have the kids come, they could, you know, they can meet, hang up, or whatever they were doing. From 5 to 8 o'clock, put the lights on, just to create, you know, an atmosphere, you know, of community and people going there and as a meeting place. And then it's 8 o'clock, it's not late, turn the lights out, and then people go home. So that way we're not interfering too much with, you know, the residents that live across the street, but it's still allowing the community to come out and, you know, participate in doing something healthy, you know, for their mental health as well as their physical health. So I would like to, you know, bring that up and see if that would be something possible that we could do for council. So, I mean, I would like to put that on the agenda for next week if that was something that,
I think we need to talk to Little League because they own, you know, the lights and all belong to them. So we'd have to figure out, you know, who's going to pay for it. I'm sure we could figure a way to pay for some stuff. But then the maintenance, if these lights go out, who's going to fix them? So let me talk to Stacy and see if there's, I don't know if we could do it every night, because I don't know if the people on Jefferson Avenue want to put up with it every night.
well, that's why it would be from
No.
5 to 8, so.
So, I mean, it's up to you. You want to put it on the agenda, but until we get it resolved, I don't know how anybody can vote on something.
Okay, so what do we exactly got to get resolved, just to see if Little League can let us use our own lights?
They're not our lights.
They're not?
No. They belong to Little League.
And I'm sure it'd be easy enough to, you know, for all the things that we do for Little League, I'm sure they won't have a problem allowing us to use their lights. So I don't think that would be a,
Maybe it's not a problem. I don't know.
Okay.
I can't speak for anybody.
gotcha.
But he also said about, I think, turning the lights on at the track.
Oh, he didn't say anything about
I think he
this.
said light up the, I didn't even have a chance. I've been so busy today.
Okay.
The football field at the high school.
Oh, the football field? I don't, maybe he
Oh,
reached
maybe.
out to somebody in the
Maybe
East
he'll
Ward,
text you
maybe?
during the, right now and let you know.
Yeah.
I'm trying to see if I could find it. I know he sent it to me, Gene Williams, and Chick D'Angelo.
Oh, okay. And the last thing I want to do, and I wish the chief was here, but can we get some tractor trailer signs? We have people coming down from 13 and Beaver Street that come down Beaver Street and they are turning on Mansion. They're turning on the avenues. Because I think what's happening is they're coming down and all of a sudden they see the bridge and they're not sure if they can get up under the bridge and they just start turning. And there's a lot of rookie drivers, truck drivers, and I only know this because one of our neighbors, Frank Vickers, happened to be on the corner when this truck driver was coming down Amazon tractor trailer. And Frank luckily was a tractor trailer driver at some point in his life, the dude was only doing it for 3 months and couldn't back out. So Frank actually had to get in his truck and back him out and get him out. And then less than 10 minutes later, another tractor came down the same way and they stopped him. So it's happening all the time. And I know that the chief, has talked about, they're helping these guys. They're not really giving them any citations, or they're not really giving them anything. And it's just like, we've been nice enough. I think they got to start getting the message that, listen, you're not going to come in the borough and just keep bringing your tractor trailers and ruining our streets. So I don't know if we can get a blinking light, something that is,
So just to go, I'm going to answer that
yeah,
tractor trailer, but it says, maybe turn the stadium lights on 4 days a week to invite walkers. Now, I don't know what he means by stadium lights, so maybe when you talk to him, find out. All right, so the tractor trailers, if you notice, right at Beaver and
13?
and we put another bigger sign up that says no left turn, because once they make the left turn, they're done. They can't get under the bridge. So then they're backing all the way down Jefferson, or they're going back where the baseball field is, and they destroyed that parking lot back there, which needs to be redone. So that's the first thing. So we put another sign up there that says, bridge height, no left turns, the whole 9 yards. But once they go straight, they can fit under the bridge, but I think they're getting to a point where, what should I do? I'm already to a point where there's no return, so they try to start making turns down these streets, which at the end of them streets, there are signs that say no tractor trailers. Am I correct?
Yes.
They're at the beginning too, they just
That's
don't,
what I said at the
Yeah.
beginning of
Yeah.
so we were out there, and even though it's your ward, I do try to get things resolved. I met out there with different people to put up some more signs. I think we need to get some bigger signs down near Burger King.
yes.
And on Route 13, somewhere in that grass area that says, like if you're coming south or north, once you make this turn, the bridge heights or whatever, so they can read that. And then maybe a Keystone Lighting, which we all call, I don't know what the new name is. The problem is, some of the GPS directs you past Beaver Street to turn onto Jefferson. And there's supposed to be a gate that gets you back there, which never was used. So we even talked to the owner, or whoever, what's that guy, I forget his name, we met with, to try to put a sign, because his sign is blocked when you come down Beaver Street from 13. So there has to be something with a bigger address, arrows that are
Can you
pointing them
also
in.
do it on the other end, because people, it's been happening in
It's
our.
constant.
they're
But
going
the other
down
thing
Wilson
is they
Avenue
wanna
and
go
they're
to-
going
they want-
over people's grass.
They want to go to
and everything.
Baumgarten's building at Canal Works, where I live. So they are trying to come down Jefferson, or they try to come down Canal off of Beaver. So it's not only Keystone Lighting, they're trying to get to other, or Canal Works, or whatever. So we need to really study this area, but something has to get done, because it's a nightmare.
So the question is that bridge high enough for the,
Jefferson Avenue's high enough, right, Merle, or no?
No, Beaver Street's high.
Beaver Street, I mean,
Beaver Street is?
yes.
It's high enough.
Yeah, it's Jefferson is the
Before
problem.
they get there.
That's what I'm saying, they're getting nervous because they see the bridge and they don't know what's going on. So even there's this, like, are they allowed on Beaver Street?
Yeah.
Well, if we could put signs up there that the bridge height is here, you could freaking make it for them to keep going, because what's happening is they're seeing the bridge ahead, getting nervous and just turning, and they all do it.
There's signs on the bridges there.
I think.
On the bridges, it's too late, they're already there, they don't see that they can make it, I guess, they don't go to the bridge.
On Beaver Street, they're okay.
I know, but they're not getting to the bridge, Mr. Dillon. They're turning, they see the bridge ahead, but they don't see the sign.
I think we need to get something bigger at the corner of Jefferson and Beaver that says, if you go like with an arrow, bridge ahead, clearance with this light. Don't make even if it's gotta be printed on the ground. And then as you're going down Beaver, maybe when every other avenue or whatever, put a sign that says, bridge clearance 14, whatever it is, and they know they can clear that bridge. So, again, I mean, I'll go back out and try to work with Kevin right now, that's temporarily in charge of the street and highway. So we'll see what we can do.
Everyone might want to get in touch with, you can get in touch with Google. I don't know how this gets done, but I know other communities that talk to Google and Waze, to try to tell them where the truck routes are.
All right. Well, the guy at Keystone Lighting, all their vendors now know not to pass that entrance. But they still need to open that entrance up better with better signage.
And Fred's been very good at the canal works, because people would come down Washington Street, they get to Ratcliffe, and then they'd be jammed up there. And we put the signs up, but they still would do it, and then he finally sat down with all his people.
I had a tractor trailer stuck in front of my house a little while ago and didn't know which way. They were trying to go into the parking ride to turn to go up Washington. It was a nightmare. We tried to back them out. So it's all over. I think we need to, better signage and things like that.
All right, and then the last thing I have is basically is going to be, I guess, for Mr. Salerno. I got the paperwork that dealt with the sale of the skating rink. I appreciate you giving me that. The first question, Mr. Salerno, is this, the paperwork that I got from Mr. Dillon, is this all the paperwork that is in regards to the skating rink settlement?
All the paperwork?
Yeah.
No, obviously not. It's about 24 inches high, all the paperwork.
Okay. Well,
What did you get? I don't know what you got.
I got the closing statement. I got the purchase and sale agreement. I got the recorder of deeds.
The new deed.
I got the, this is from Bruce, this is the one that Rex signed, Bristol Borough. It's a deed, special warranty deed.
This is the deed, transferring the property.
Okay.
What was the other one? You said the deed.
No, that was it, that's it.
No, the thing that was filed.
This right here?
Yeah. That's the waiver of the deed restriction. This is the deed to the property.
So it's not all of the paperwork, so can I get a copy of all the paperwork in regards to that rink deal?
I think you need to send a right to know request to the authority, because I don't know if it's all public record.
Well, I mean, being on council, I would assume that, why would I have to, aren't we the ones who are responsible for the money and the dealings that go on in the borough?
The authority owned the rink, the authority sold the rink, okay? They're an agency. If anybody wants those records, the right to know request would go to them. The borough didn't sell the property.
Okay.
The property's in the name of the authority, was in the name of the authority.
All right, well, I mean, is it that difficult? I mean, don't we control the authority? These are people that we all appointed to the authority.
No, you don't control it. You appointed them. You don't
Is
control
there,
it.
Okay,
I
so-
don't know. I mean, is there any reason, does the authority still meet? You guys-
So what happens when the-
Why don't you just say, Mr. Devine is requesting the entire, I don't even know
I
what
can go
else.
through it. I'm just saying, I don't have.
Is there
authority-
something you're looking for, you need?
I just want to look through it, that's all.
You got to me, that's the main paperwork, the sale,
Agreement and the
the
closing
agreement and all that
statement are
stuff.
the main thing.
The other thing is just, language and stuff that makes no sense, but if you need it,
Yeah, I would like to see it. I mean, I think that, that's something as a council person that I should be,
I would just try to get it to you so we don't have to deal
All
with
right.
this every month. Ask the authority next time, if they want a letter, he'll get them a letter, if not, just,
Listen, if they say they don't need a request, but they still got to review it because there's no authority to give out public documents.
I understand, I
Public.
understand.
All right. So ask the
Whatever's
authority.
legal to give him, please give him. Okay.
All right, and then looking at the settlement statement.
Right.
I'm looking at the charges, and there is 150,000 that we held back escrow, or
Right.
there's an escrow.
We talked about that.
What is,
It's not an escrow, it's a setback. If you looked at the agreement,
uh-huh,
like anytime you sell a business, not just property, but a business, the buyer's going to require to hold money back until they make sure everything is cleared. Like one of the things that's required is a tax clearance, a bulk sales tax clearance from the state. That takes 6 months for the state to get back. So the buyer wants to make sure that there's nothing owed that's going to come on them, that's our responsibility. So it's 150,000 hold back until, for 6 months. If there's no problems, the authority will get the 150,000. So it's not an escrow, it's not being held by the title company. It's a holdback.
okay, it's a holdback. So right now, who holds it? We have it, right? The authority has it?
No, the buyer has it. The buyer will give us an additional 150,000 to complete the purchase price in 6 months if there's no outstanding issues.
If there's a bill that comes up, let's just say a vendor went back and said, you never paid this bill $1,500, it's our response, now it's they're going to take it out at 150.
Okay,
So at the end of 6 months, whatever isn't used, which is going to be zero, because we're going to get the 150, because I think Jim realized there's nothing outstanding that's
We
owed.
think we've covered everything, but again, it's standard in a business because there's no way of,
For them to collect it if there's something
because they're
wrong.
continuing all the relationships. Therefore, to figure out exactly when the authority's responsibility ended and theirs started. And with the tax clearance, we applied for the bulk sales clearance a couple weeks before closing. They take 6 months to get that back to us, which is standard.
okay. So is there any paperwork or documents that talk about this escrow?
It's in the agreement of sale.
It's in the agreement of sale.
Which you have there.
Right.
Standard in a business sale.
Okay. So the 150, what you're saying is not escrow. You're saying it's not in an escrow account. The authority doesn't have it. That the 150,000 is just what? If the authority doesn't have it, where's this 150,000? That's what I'm missing.
The buyer has it. They'll give us the additional money when the 6 months is up. It's not an escrow because it has nothing to do with title.
Okay.
If you
I'm
look-
only going by what it says. It says escrow here, that's all.
I understand. But if you look, you'll see there are monies being held by the title company, which are escrows.
Okay.
Because the sale of the business has nothing to do with the title of the property.
Okay. All right. The next question I have is, was there any other monies paid besides the money that was documented on the settlement?
I don't know what you mean.
Like, this was listed as our only payments. On this side right here. 1125, 1125.
No, the, 150, there was transfer tax, and there was 2 escrows, which we'll get back. Right, and then the balance that came was 382309. So, I don't know what you're asking, were there things off the?
Yeah, well,
No.
all right, so everything's there that we would.
You can see it all adds up to $4 million.
Yeah, with the 150.
Yeah.
The next question is, like, to me, I guess this is what's really got me asking all these questions that you asked, Ralph. What was I looking for is that, as a councilman, I was just kind of disturbed that there was a non-disclosure agreement or a confidentiality agreement with one person who was an elected official. So whose idea was it that we would need a non-disclosure agreement?
No, let me explain. Back that up.
Go ahead.
When We got, this entire council was emailed
Mm-hmm.
by Black Bear Sports Group, correct? You got an email. Same email
Mhm.
I got.
Okay.
Am I right?
Maybe, I don't know.
Well, no, you did.
All right, I did, go ahead.
Maybe, let's make sure everybody
All right.
understands. Every councilman sitting here was emailed.
Okay.
I told the manager to get in touch with, what was his name? Not Marty, Gunty. Murray, to set up a meeting, bring him in, because you brought somebody a week before, what was his name?
Doug Overton.
Doug Overton to look at the rink,
Mhm.
because we talked about, you said maybe he wants to buy it,
Mm-hmm.
and then you said something about maybe he only wants to buy half of it or something, or we would work something out. I don't know what your statement.
Yeah, it was something rented out or,
When you did that on your own. Nobody said anything that you were showing the rink, and you did show it to somebody that you wanted to sell it to, and to see if he was interested.
right.
In the meantime, Doug Overton didn't email this entire council, he only talked to Tony Devine. And there's nothing wrong with that. You did what you had to do as a
Well,
councilman.
let's,
Let me finish.
all right.
You took him to see the rink, and I appreciate what you were doing.
Mhm.
Because this thing's been a burden on taxpayers for years. So hopefully, if he would have bought the rink, that would have been great. I didn't care who bought the rink. When Marty emailed everybody, Murray, and I said to Jim, set up a meeting, Jim met with him, or didn't even meet with him. Murray went to the rink and met with Mike McVeigh, who showed him the facility. And when they got done, Jim texted me and said, do you want to meet him? I said, I'm really busy right now, I really can't. He said, well, I think they're interested. I said, okay, I'll stop what I'm doing, and I'll run over and meet with him. So we met the meeting couldn't have been 15 minutes, and I said to him, he said, what do you think it's worth? I said, I don't think the borough would sell the rink for less than 4 or 5 million. I said, that's just my opinion. I mean, I would have sold it for 2 million if it was me. But he said, well, there's no way we can give you 5 million. We would have if the floor, we didn't have the issue with the floor, and everybody knows every year we had to take the one rink out and let it melt down and all. And he said, we want to buy the rink. We probably can get you into the 3s. I said, if you're getting us into the, we went back and forth, and he says, look, I said, there's other people might be interested. We may put it on the market. We don't know what we're doing. But I know there's a lot of issues right now. The chiller's gone and some other things. And council said from the beginning that we would never put any more money into this rink because we couldn't afford it. Why should we keep dumping money into it and nobody in this town ever used the rink? So we went back and forth, and I said, if you can get us 4 million, I think that the council would be happy, but you still need to deal with the authority. He said to me, I'm asking you, gentlemen, on a handshake, that you do not put my number on the street as more of a confidentiality agreement between us. I said, I would never do that because it's not fair. Just like if Overton gave you a number and said, Tony, I'm going to give you 5 million, but do me a favor, talk to everybody, but don't tell them I want to give 5 million, which I don't think you should have.
Right, well,
In the meantime, there was restrictions. I called Gene Williams and I said to Gene, we have an opportunity maybe to sell the rink. It still goes back to the authority. Would you be willing to lift your restriction? He said, I don't know if they will. We have a meeting coming up next week. I'll get back to you. He got back to us. I said, well, this is important to the taxpayers of this town who've been paying for something that we never use. He got back to us. He said they will lift their restriction. In the meantime, he said they want to purchase this rink within 30 days because they want to make the hockey season that's coming up. If we can put the deal together, we have a deal. I met with the authority. I told them, this is my opinion. I still got to run it by council, which I did that night. Everybody on council agreed that it was a great deal for the borough. And that's how the deal came down. There's no hidden agendas. There's nothing that's involved here. Just like when you showed the rink to somebody to buy it, and they would have purchased it, I would have been as happy as could be that you got this rink off the borough books.
Okay, so are you finished?
Yeah?
All right, so the problem I have isn't the part of the sale of the rink, like we discussed. The problem is that it was you that did everything. See, if I were talking to Doug, I would not be able to, and I wouldn't even have thought about doing it by myself, just me doing it.
You did.
I talked to the person, I wasn't going to, number one, I wasn't going
Show
to,
them the rink?
I let you finish, I'm just telling you.
Yeah.
So, number one, I never negotiated anything. I never threw a number out there of, I don't think anybody on this council would let it go for, 5 million or 6 million. None of that. It was me showing a person that I knew who was a basketball guy that was a former pro that was interested in building something basketball. And I thought that Bristol Borough was a great location, and especially the rink for kids in the borough who never use it, who never ice skate, who never, participate. So a basketball person who is, who reaches out to, to kids and does things on his own, the kids in the borough would be able to capitalize and use the facility and something like that. The idea of me bringing him was just to bring somebody into the borough, just like you said. If it gets sold and everything was in front of council at the beginning and we knew about it, I wouldn't have an issue with it. The only issue that I have about selling the rink was, number one, it was only done by you. It was done in secret. It's going to be something that is, if you look at it, it's a $7 million loss for the borough, right? When you come down to numbers. And then the next step on it is, that rink was going to be paid off in 4 years or whatever it was. Right. So now what we did is, now we lifted the ability for our kids in this town to ever use that rink. Because once it's paid off and the ice doesn't work, then we could just open it up so we could use it for our kids and our seniors, really. We could use it for, for the whole community. It doesn't just have to be for the kids. So what happened was, that idea now focuses on, it goes from recreation at the skating rink to recreation in what I see as that Central Park idea, where it's going to be recreation also. So now I see it as recreation is canceled for kids with the rink, and now we're talking about recreation in that Central Park area being canceled for housing. So again, it's the borough residents a lose-lose. So we lose money there, and now we just spent $3 million plus to build houses where those people who are going to buy those houses are not going to be buying, they're not going to buy that property for $3 million plus. They're going to get it for pennies on the dollar. Because that piece of land is not going to be worth $3 million to a builder. Right? So that is the problem. So the situation that I have with the sale of the building isn't the sale of the building, as long as recreation was being taken care of at some park in the town. So now let's go back to the idea of what I have here on paper, is that, so where is why, if it was just a handshake with the owner, a man-to-man handshake, why wouldn't you come to council before you went to Gene Williams, before you went to the rec authority? Why wouldn't you come to us? Because we are, from what I read in this piece here, it says, whereas this authorized sale is upon the recommendation of Borough Council, which has or will issue a resolution recommending the sale of the rink. It went in reverse.
No.
No, it did. It went reverse. You got the rec. You agreed for the rec that they were going to sell it. I got you saying that. What do you mean? No.
We recommended to the.
No, we didn't recommend it. You even said it was the day. It's August 10th.
Right.
Was the day.
Tony, look,
I'm just telling, listen, just let me finish.
Yeah.
Just let me finish. It was August 10th.
Right.
You said that you met with the rec authority.
Right.
You told them about the
At
sale,
5
and they were head over heels. They were excited
Right.
about the sale. Then you met with us. We had a meeting at 7 o'clock. So that was already done, that you met with the rink.
Right.
So how could we, as a council, recommend after it's already a done deal? We
It
didn't.
wasn't a done deal. You still have to recommend.
No,
you
it's,
still have-
don't you understand?
Let's say the rinks,
No, no, no.
let's say the authority
This
said
is what it
no.
is. It's about.
It's about me.
No, it's not about you, Ralph.
You said that it's
No,
about
it's
me.
about the process.
Okay, the process
That's all it's about, the
was,
process.
if the authority said no, this would have never came to council that night.
All right, let's time out. Let's talk reality. If we're gonna talk reality, let's talk reality. Is anybody on that rec authority that you appointed
Right.
going to say no? Let's be honest.
If they said no, it would have been embarrassment to this town, just like council.
It wouldn't be an
If council
embarrassment.
said no, that they didn't want to sell this rink, that would be a sad day for this town.
But we have to follow the way it's supposed to go down.
Right,
And it
okay.
says here,
So we missed a step, you're
all
right.
right, well, that's all,
Okay,
just,
All right, so what else do you?
all right, so that's what I'm
If
saying.
anybody else sold this rink, if it was,
It's not the idea of what it
if you
is.
sold
Ralph,
this rink
Ralph,
to Overton,
the
would
process,
anybody say anything?
I will tell you the
You're
process.
unhappy
No, I will
because
tell you the process.
Here's your problem.
it's not a problem.
You really
I'm the-
believe
Here's
that
the problem.
somebody
No,
made
here's
money
the problem.
on the rink.
Here's
That's
the
in your
problem.
mind.
Here's the problem, is that
And you'll
when it's
never
my
figure it out.
turn, when it's my turn to speak,
Go ahead.
you have to be quiet, even though
Yeah.
you're the council president.
Right, go ahead. You got all the time you
The
want.
Mayor Sack, I don't know why you shake your head all the
Tony,
time.
go
Don't you
ahead.
follow rules?
Here we go.
Don't you follow rules, Mayor? Okay, so so
Tony.
when somebody else is
Tony,
speaking,
please.
all right, I'm just saying,
Yeah.
it's just annoying to see the mayor shake his
That's
head,
fine.
that's
Go
all.
ahead. Go ahead, Tony.
All right, so let's go back. So the difference is, if I sold the rink to Doug Overton, as soon as Doug said he was interested and there was a number or something he would say to me, Tone, I'm serious, I'm gonna go talk to my, whatever, we're gonna come back with a number. At that point, I bring it back to council, we sit down, I say, listen, I got Doug Overton, this is what he wants to do. Is this something that we can get behind? Is this what, that's what I would do. It never got to that point. You went past the point because, again, you think that it's about you and it's jealousy, and it's not at all. It's about following. Just because you're the council president doesn't mean that you do whatever you want and then everyone else just falls in line, right? Do things the right way the first time. So again, here's the question. What was the purpose of the confidentiality agreement? Are you saying there was not a confidentiality agreement now? It was just a handshake?
Yep.
All right, so then why would you tell us there was a confidentiality agreement that you couldn't
I
talk to
had-
anybody?
That's what I told him. I gave him my word.
You never said that to us. All right, everybody in here thought there was an agreement made.
No, you're saying there was nothing signed. We made an agreement between us.
I'm
That
just
his
saying,
number was
everybody
that-
on this council,
Don't talk for everybody.
but, all right, did you believe that? You thought it was a handshake?
Tony, what else do you have?
Don't
Wait.
talk for everybody.
I'm saying, Lou, what did you think it was? You can speak now, I'm
Did you
sorry.
ever have a
Well, let me
meeting?
tell you, I
Yeah.
sat on the Recreation Authority 12 years ago, 14 years ago.
Can you just answer the question,
Had
Lou?
a rink management
Can you just
service.
answer the question?
They couldn't get us
Can you
$2
just
million.
answer the question, Lou? Did you believe that that was a handshake, that when he said that he had a confidentiality agreement, that's why he couldn't tell us ever? Did you think that was a handshake, or do you think it was a document?
I thought it was a handshake.
No, you're the best. You're the best.
All right,
You're the
Mr.
best.
Dillon wants to talk.
No, wait.
Yeah.
Tony, let's stay on that point. I was there, Mr. Gunty said, I'm willing to pay $4 million, but I don't want that number out on the street. Okay? So that was the confidentiality agreement. It was verbal. I was there. The borough, and Ralph didn't cost the borough $7 million for the sale of the rink. The sale of that rink, the money was lost the day it was built. It was built for way too much money. So that loss was done the day that that rink was built. The rink authority for years has tried to sell that rink, and we were ecstatic when you got involved, thinking that, big pro basketball was going to come in and spend the money. But I think the $4 million saves the taxpayers quite a bit of money. Our residents can still use the rink if they want to do ice skating rink, if they want to ice skate. But I think it was an excellent decision by the authority and council to sell this piece of property. It's now on the tax rolls. To fix up the rink would have been $750,000 just to fix the underflooring of the rink B. You had the roof problems, you have the parking lot, you have compressors. It was just ongoing. We kept it going for a number of years, but I think it was definitely in the best interest of the borough to sell it.
Okay.
And I think $4 million, we should shake hands with ourselves for it.
And I don't think anybody
So-
sitting
so
here
it
has a
was-
problem.
Okay, so what I want to say is I want to make this clear. And Mr. Dillon, I hold you in high regard, is that I never said that it was Ralph that cost us that we lost $7 million because of Ralph. I never said that. The only issue that I have is the way it was handled. That's the issue that I have, not that it was sold.
Okay, so you
And then
made
it's
your point.
compounded by, now we have another $3 million plus over at Chestnut and Elm Street that we're going to continue to put money into, that taxpayers are going to pay for somebody else to build houses on.
Okay.
When the residents of this town need something. They need something.
Can I say something?
Sure.
If we spend $3 million on Chestnut and Elm Street,
Mm-hmm.
and it becomes a park, how do you get the money back?
You don't. It's,
Okay?
it's,
So it's okay not to get it back,
And the cost to maintain.
but you have to get money now to build this park. Where's all this money coming from? I don't know, can you tell me?
well, if, after now, listen.
What do you mean
here-
after now?
After we sold the rink, right, so now our debt service is minimal. So now this is the only area, so eventually what's gonna happen is you're gonna use that money, right? And when I say you, I meant you, I don't mean us. You're gonna use that money to do the projects that you wanna do, and none of them are going to benefit the residents of the town.
Okay.
So that's what's gonna happen. So when I say that, there's money there. So if you wanna allocate $2 million for rec so we can do something there, then everyone else would agree.
What are you saying, borrow $2 million for rec?
Yeah.
Who will agree? Whole council right now. Mr. Gerard, will you borrow $2 million?
No.
Mr. Catroci?
No.
Mr. Gorman? Mrs. Cullen?
No.
Where are you gonna get the votes to borrow money for recreation? Are you serious?
I'm dead
We
serious.
just sold
Yeah.
a rink that put this borough in debt for 20 years.
Yeah.
Now you wanna go, what recreation don't have? I'm confused.
What recreation do we not have?
Yeah, what
What
don't
do
we
we
have?
have? Tell me what we have.
We have baseball, we have basketball.
That is
We
run,
have forget about how it's run. Baseball, basketball, football, soccer. We have after-school programs
We-
for the kids. Well, I don't understand what we're missing in recreation. I'm totally confused there. I've been around
I think we
longer
have
than you
this.
have been. I've been
Right.
involved with Little League, I've been involved with CYO, I've been involved with all kind of programs my whole entire life with kids. I have never seen you anywhere in this town
Neither.
to volunteer or to do anything with kids.
and I'm gonna tell you why.
Never.
Ready?
Okay,
Can I tell you why?
Let me finish. You
Can I tell
said
you why?
I-
Wait, you're
I
throwing
have
things
the
out.
floor. No, let me finish.
You're throwing things
You just
out that I
said
wanna
when you
comment
were
on.
talking for me till I got done.
Yeah, but I don't
So
throw
now,
shots, you're
wait a
throwing
minute,
shots.
now, I'm not throwing shots.
Oh, so you said
All
you
I'm
haven't
saying
volunteered.
is, you keep saying recreation. I don't know what we don't have. First of all, how many kids do we have in this town? It's not like Lower Makefield or Yard, where we have hundreds and hundreds of kids. We said, sign up for baseball, it was free, we had grants. How many kids signed up? We had a basketball program. How many kids signed up? We have soccer for the kids. How many kids sign up? I think you're living in the past with sports, but there's more than just sports for these kids. We have after-school program. The theater has the outrageous program who's year-round now. Gene Williams and the AOC run a great program. So, maybe there's not, everybody wants to play football or basketball or baseball. We have things for everybody in this town. I agree, the seniors need more, there's no question, but they don't need more parks. If the seniors want to go walk the park, they can walk anywhere they want. So I'm totally confused on recreation. Why we would go spend millions of dollars to build a park for people to use when we have, the school has a ton of ground on the corner, Beaver and Buckley, that could be used. We have a soccer field down on Otter Street that could be used or turned into something else. There's a ton of it. You said there's no open space. I don't know what else you want us to do. I really don't.
All right.
And I'm for the kids.
It sounds like it. Sounds like it. All right, are you finished?
Yep.
All right, so I would like to say, the reason why you don't see me volunteer and do things for the kids is because I'm not a self-promoter, right? When I do things, I do it because I want to. I don't need a photograph. It's not a photo op opportunity. I don't need somebody patting me on the back, telling me how great I am. Look what I did, taking pictures, sending it to people. It's not what I do. I do it because I want to do it. So if you could get people in this community, if you want to take a poll, I know you like to take polls in here, get a poll of the community of kids that I've helped. You want me to get a list for you? Would you read it out loud?
Yeah, we all can get a list.
No, I'm just asking, do you want me to? Because you made statements, that's all. It was just
I
funny
said
to me, that's
you,
all.
I've never seen you in all my life.
All your life, yeah.
And I put, before I was involved in politics, I put 17 years in Little League.
Okay.
There were no dugouts there, there were no lights there, there were
Is
no
this a pat on the
press
back?
box.
Just let me
No.
know. Is it a pat on the
Never
back?
asked for
yourself?
any recognition. So I'm saying, I never seen you around, so there's where I'm confused. Go ahead, Tony.
All right, so let me go back to this,
Go ahead.
to the statement. So, Mr. Salerno, so I'm assuming, I didn't see any charges on there for the work that you did. So I'm assuming that you did this for free for us, all the paperwork?
No, obviously I didn't, Mr. Devine. I worked for the authority, and the authority paid me.
The authority paid you?
Yes.
Okay, so could you give me all of your copies of your billing from all your duties?
I don't know, I'll ask the authority.
You'll ask the authority? Okay, so the authority paid you for the work that you did here. So that wouldn't come off the settlement sheet?
It had nothing to do with the settlement sheet. It wasn't paid by the buyer. It didn't come off the settlement sheet.
Okay, so would you mind letting me know how much money you made?
What do you think's reasonable?
That's what I'm asking.
Well, whatever I say, you're gonna say it's too much.
No, I'm just gonna write it down. How much did you make?
I'll have to look.
You're not sure?
I
I
know.
want to be accurate.
You want to be accurate? Okay.
I didn't bring that file with me.
All right. So, when we talked about this non-disclosure, this confidentiality agreement, it was only for us not to hear about it. You couldn't talk about it. But when you were talking to your son, who's a realtor, that wasn't a breach of confidentiality?
That really bothers you, doesn't it?
Yes.
I'm just asking the question.
Go ahead, Tony.
No, I'm asking.
I
I'm
love-
asking the solicitor.
This is,
Solicitor.
it is so great
Is it?
that you're showing your true colors, but keep going.
My true
I'm
colors
lying.
is what? Being open and honest? Is that what it is?
It's so personal with you, it's a sin.
What's personal?
Go ahead.
That you ask questions? I'm saying, let's think about this. I'm an elected official, right? I'm an elected official, and I'm getting negative feedback for doing what I was elected to do. I don't know if you realize this, but in the North Ward, you had Bill Pezza, the whole Raising the Bar gamut. I had you, I had all your friends out there. I had, I don't know how much money that you spent on that election. You had parties, you had all kinds of stuff, and you still got beat. So what does that tell you about people in the North Ward?
They love you.
No, it means that they want somebody that's going to speak up. They don't want to continue to have people who just do whatever and don't do anything.
No, you don't
And they don't do anything except thank people and tell everybody how great they are for doing their job. They want people who ask questions.
Pat yourself on the back.
No, I don't want to. All right, so here we go. So the escrow, we talked about it, wasn't really escrow. And, all right, so it wasn't really a confidentiality agreement, it was just a handshake that you never told anybody on council
Right.
that it was a handshake, even though Mr. Quattrochi knew it was a handshake.
It could still be a confident.
How is this deal?
You're just such.
Now, here's the other one. So, Mr. Salerno, so you said that you are the solicitor of the rec authority as well, right?
No, I was retained to handle this for them.
Oh, you were retained, do they have a solicitor for the rec?
Formally, no, informally, if they need stuff done, I do it.
I'm sorry, they do what?
I don't think formally I've been appointed, but if they need things done, I do it for them.
All right, so you weren't formally, but you're the guy who used it. So, are you aware of, like, the prerequisites to be on the rec authority, to be appointed to the rec authority?
Mr. Devine, if you want to come to a rec meeting, you could ask me
I'm
questions.
asking you a
No,
question.
You're asking me questions about the rec.
No,
authority.
I'm asking you a question.
I can answer.
Can you answer, please?
You don't need to.
I can answer.
He's the solicitor.
You don't have to answer you, Tony.
Okay.
Your question
Does
is
he,
right.
wait, does he represent, does he work for the pleasure
works
of
for the
council, or
authority.
does he
Yes,
work
he
for the
does.
pleasure of
Authority.
Ralph Di
He
Giuseppe?
works for council. and
Okay, well then answer my question,
So,
please.
If you went to the rec
Mr.
meeting,
Salerno,
the problem is you're not on TV, and that's why you don't want to go there. You want to just keep grandstanding, but go ahead.
it's grandstanding. It wouldn't be a grandstand, all you have to do is answer the question. So, Mr. Salerno, are you aware of the criteria or the prerequisites to be on the rec authority?
I'm not answering that question. It has nothing to do with council.
It absolutely does.
Fine, that's what you
He
did.
answered your question, he's not
So the
answering.
answer is, you don't know. All right, so is it a requirement that you have to be a borough resident? Maybe Ralph, you can answer that, you know
I have no
that.
idea.
You have no idea.
Nope.
Mr. Solicitor, could you answer that question?
I don't have an answer.
You don't have an answer for that? All right, Mr. Quattrochi, you were on it
All right,
for,
I will tell you, it predates anybody here, but Joe Rose sat on that board for years.
no, I asked you. I said, is there a
I gave you an
prerequisite?
answer. Now you didn't ask me? I thought you said Mr. Quattrochi.
I did, you didn't answer the question. Mr. Quattrochi, can you answer this question?
Yeah, I did.
Is there a
answer.
prerequisite for a member of that board to be a borough resident?
No,
There is no prerequisite
I
for
don't
it.
think there is.
So it's no, or you don't think,
Thanks.
you don't think it is? Which one is it?
I said, when I got on the board, there were people that weren't,
asked you the question, just say no or you
people on
don't.
the board that weren't residents.
All right, so you don't know. Is that what you're saying?
No, I said they were on there.
Okay, they were on
Residents
it.
were on that
Okay.
board.
Tony, why don't we do this?
So here's the question. So what I want to say is this. So when I look at this paperwork and I find out that the person who even signs, who's the chair of the rec authority, doesn't even live in Bristol Borough. Right? Somebody told me he don't even live in Bristol Borough. And I thought, that's kind of crazy, don't you think?
No,
No? It's normal.
I'm telling you, Joe
I'm
Rowe
just
was-
saying.
Joe Rowe was a chairman when I got on, and he didn't live in Bristol Borough. He was a chairman for years.
All right.
Now, what's the issue?
So the issue is, did you have a problem with the mayor not living in Bristol?
Did I have a problem? with
Yeah,
it?
The mayor.
yeah.
I live in Bristol.
Did you?
No, he's talking about Pat 17.
Yeah. Did you have a problem with that? No?
No, nobody said
Nobody
anything.
did. Ralph, you didn't have a problem with it either?
Nope. And I said it at a public meeting.
All right.
Why do you
So,
want to bring
I'm not
people
gonna-
into this?
Because I want to show that you guys are full of crap, that's all.
Nobody had a
Nothing to
problem
do
with,
with the other.
nobody had a
It
problem.
does, it
with
has
Pat.
everything to do with it.
Nobody had a problem with Pat.
All right, so the last question, since you guys always turn this into a circus. Yeah, you guys always turn it into a circus.
Yeah.
All right, Mr. Salerno, on the contract, 2.2, talks about excluded asset.
Listen, Mr. Klein.
Can you tell me?
Why don't you
what that is?
email? I'm not going to sit here and read
Have a
it.
meeting.
Why don't you email?
I
I'm
don't
not
want
going to do
it.
it.
I want it on public record.
Fine, you email it, and I'll
Nah.
answer it at the next meeting.
Just tell me.
You don't tell me what to do.
I just did.
You don't tell me what to do.
I'm asking you as a council
I'm
member,
not
and
gonna
you
do
work, and you
Tony,
work for the
Tony.
pleasure of council.
Tony,
Is
Well, I'm
council
asking
telling you
you.
to do
Tony,
it?
he's telling
I'm
you to
asking
put
you
your
as a council
questions in
member.
writing.
I don't have to answer to you as
Who
a
do you have to
councilman.
answer to?
To the majority of council.
That's it? So
And
when
to the
people,
borough manager.
so when people call you individually, you don't answer their questions?
Yeah.
He
You
said,
I'm
know.
not answering yours.
You're
Put
not
it in
answering
email.
mine.
Put it in
listen,
email.
he said,
and I'll
put
answer
your
it.
questions in writing.
All right, just do me a favor. Just do me a favor. Mr. Salerno, if you could just give me copies of, and if I have to put a right to know in, just let me know that also. If I have to put a right to know in.
I don't know.
I
Yeah,
don't know
copy.
why you guys just.
Mayor.
left it alone.
Mayor, stay around, Mayor. Stay around.
No way.
Left alone.
All right, what else do we got?
See you guys.
What a circus you make out of it.
No, it's you guys. It's the
Shane,
joke.
you-
Here's the joke of it. It's you guys that make the circus because you guys are all, you guys act like you're not part of it.
Yeah, okay.
Just, all you gotta do is answer questions, that's all. I would love to see any of you guys sit in a minority and see how you act.
Not like that.
I know you would, because you know why? Because you couldn't be, because
You have
there's no
anything?
working together.
You have anything else?
That's it.
I get a motion to adjourn.
So, Dave, second, like,